I was thinking about what I could do over the summer since the school year was over. Almost over. Wondering what I would do with this freedom, I began to think about books. Reading was something that I would like to do over the summer to eat up time. So I began to think about books that I haven't read yet that I would like to read, and books that I already read but would like to read again. This made me remember a book that I read a couple of years ago that I thought was absolutely fascinating. It was The Giver by Lewis Lowry. The novel takes place in a futuristic society seen as a utopia due to everyone getting along with one another. There was no suffering, no pain, no crime, no hunger, and no war. But in order to eliminate pain, crime, and conflict, the society followed a system of sameness, which eradicated the emotional part of people. And to avoid conflict between people, as well as use people's skills efficiently, people could not decide anything for themselves, as the society's elders decided everything for them. This leads me to my question. Is it ethically justifiable for a person to make decisions for someone else, or to make decisions that will impact someone else's freedom? To address this question, I will focus on the following four areas of knowledge: ethics, indigenous knowledge systems, and in the ways of knowing, I will focus on reason. It is reasonable to have a society that puts protection before its people's freedom. Human survival depends on a steady or growing population, and a society that puts protection first guarantees survival.
It's red. Just like her hair.
Yes, there's red, green, blue, many different colors. But our people, they chose to do away with all of them. They created sameness. If we were different, we could be envious, angry, consumed with hatred. We need sameness, don't you think?
Oh, I completely agree. It's all so beautiful.
As seen in The Giver, the society takes away people's freedom to ensure their protection. And by taking away freedom, it doesn't only mean privacy and the right to decide things themselves, but also their families, their jobs, and even their emotions are taken from them and decided by the elders. This is portrayed in both the movie and the book by having the society only shaded in black and white to emphasize that the people are living in a colorless and emotionless world. This brings me to my next question. Are any means justified to enact an utopia? Like the utopian society in The Giver, and amongst others, certain principles and freedoms had to be taken away from the people. Constantly, the fight for freedom ensues with whether or not this exposes them to danger and releases them from protection. In The Giver, the people in the society, as you know, have lost their freedom and their emotion in order to obtain a utopian-like community. Everything in the community is decided by the elders. Jonas, the main protagonist of the story, realizes how colorless the world was. There was so much more to life, and he believed that the people had the right to experience them. He understood that bringing the good aspects of life would also bring the bad aspects as well. But he took the risk nonetheless, believing that the current system was not ethical, and that it was humanity's right to choose for themselves. Another example of a utopian society is the Lego Movie.
Ah, here it is. Instructions to fit in, have everybody like you, and always be happy. Step 1, breathe. Okay, got that one down. Step 2, greet the day, smile, and say, Good morning, city! Good morning, city! Good morning, city! Good morning, city! How you doing? Good morning, city! Step 3, exercise. Jumping jacks, hit 'em. 1, 2, 3. I am so pumped up! Step 4, shower. And always be sure to keep the soap out of your ass! Shave your face. Brush your teeth. Comb your hair. Wear clothes. Oop, almost forgot that one. No, not that, wrong. And that's it, check. Step 9, eat a complete breakfast with all the special people in your life. Hey, Planty, what do you want to do this morning? Watch TV? Me too!
Hi, I'm President Business, president of the Octan Corporation and the world. Let's take extra care to follow the instructions or you'll be put to sleep. And don't forget Taco Tuesday's coming next week. That's the day every rule-following citizen gets a free taco and my love. Have a great day, everybody.
You have a great day too, President Business. Man, he's such a cool guy. I always want to hear more of what... Wait, did he say put to sleep?
As you saw in the clip, the citizens in the movie are required to follow a certain set of instructions every day. Reasonably, it is used to maintain order and peace in the society. There is no conflict between people, no pain, no suffering, and everyone got along. And yet, people fought back. They decided to be free over a continuously peaceful society, stating that a forever peaceful world is not worth the cost of freedom and free will. The movie portrays that the world is not perfect and that it doesn't have to be perfect for life to be awesome, hinting that there is no such thing as a perfect world and that life is much more grand and complex than just following a set of instructions. Unlike The Giver and the Lego Movie, the short story Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut shows from the beginning how imperfect the world was. It can be viewed as an utopia due to everyone being equal and eliminating everything that could cause someone to be superior to someone else. This is supposed to quench all feelings of jealousy, greed, power, inferiority, and so on.
The year was 2081, and everyone was finally equal. They weren't only equal before God and the law, you see. They were equal every which way. Nobody was smarter than anybody else. Nobody was better looking than anybody else. Nobody was stronger or quicker than anybody else. And all this equality was due to the 211th, 212th, and 213th Amendments to the Constitution, and to the unceasing vigilance of the United States Handicapper General. The strong wore weights to make them weaker, the intelligent wore earpieces that kept them from taking unfair advantage of their brains. Even the beautiful sometimes wore masks in situations where their beauty might simply be too distracting. It was the golden age of equality. Some things about living still weren't quite right, though. April, for instance, continued to drive people crazy by not quite being springtime. And it was in that clammy month that the HG men came to take George and Hazel Bergeron's son, Harrison, away.
Though everyone is equal, everyone in society is being restrained in some way. This is mostly by the wearing of handicaps. Individuality is suppressed, and those who are deemed extraordinary are either killed or locked away and tortured as an attempt to make them more ordinary. Unlike The Giver and the Lego Movie, Harrison Bergeron's attempt to overthrow the government fails and he is killed. This short story points out that equality can never be fully reached. Vonnegut hints that the world will always have problems, and a world that is perfect will still have limitations, emphasizing the differences between people, and a people's individuality is more important than equality. When considering protection over freedom, certain individuals in The Giver, Lego Movie, and Harrison Bergeron fought for freedom. But how about the other side? There are those who committed crimes so they can be sent to prison, so they can obtain food, clothes, shelter, and healthcare. They give up their rights and their freedom for protection. Take, for instance, Jermaine McPeace, who's a homeless man who was arrested for smashing windows at the Rensselaer County Clerk's office, stating he figured he would do enough damage to be in jail for a year. He further says that he was tired of being on the streets and begging food from people. This is not uncommon for police to see, as they often arrest homeless people who commit crimes to get out of the cold. Police Captain Cooney states, "You'll see someone, for instance, urinate in an alley in plain sight of the police, so they can get a night in a warm jail. However, it is very unusual to see someone want to go in for a year." Men like Jermaine McPeace give up their freedom to have protection. It would seem, however, in most cases, that people would choose freedom over protection. Most often than not, people do not like to have decisions made for them, especially if it costs their freedom. Freedom is seen as something that everyone should have. These utopian societies are flawed in the way that they limit freedom and expression of individuality. Though the freedom to do what you want can lead to unrest and problems, which goes against utopian principles, pointing out the fact that these societies can't really exist. Even if the decisions made for you are to protect you, the freedom to decide for yourself will most likely overcome it. You can see this in communism. The focus point for communism is a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs. This type of government puts protection over freedom. Citizens have very little to decide things from and are forced to work for survival, and in most cases people are not in favor of communism, whether they are in a democratic country or even a communist country. We can further look at protection versus freedom when looking at a bird in a cage. If you open the cage, would the bird stay in the comfort of the cage where it knows it will be fed every day? Or would it spread its wings and fly away?